We are continuing our conversation on AI safety. State lawmakers passed a bill aimed at stopping harm before it happens. It was authored by State Senator Scott Wiener. And joining me now is UC Berkeley professor Olaf Groth from the Haas School of Business. Thanks so much for being with us.
Good to be with you on this beautiful Thursday.
Absolutely. All right, by now we've all heard what AI is capable of, and even the biggest names in tech agree that it needs to be regulated. How significant is this bill, and do you believe it's the gateway to more comprehensive federal regulation?
Yeah, I think this is a quite significant bill, and there is some tie back to Biden's executive order on artificial intelligence. So I do believe that a precedent will be created here for federal regulation if it were to take place in the next administration. Say things like, the mandatory shutdown for pending catastrophic failures that cause $500 million or more in potential damages. All of that is, I think, right on the mark and has been coming for a while and will create that federal precedent. Yes.
So what about the smaller tech companies, though? How could they be impacted by this bill? And do you believe many might leave California because of it?
No, I don't believe that will have any impact on small innovators because the companies that qualify for these more arduous requirements are those that spend $100 million or more on training these models, and that's usually the larger platforms, some of the foundation model creators or hyperscaler platforms. Small innovators, small model creators that don't spend as much money don't have these arduous requirements. In addition, I actually think the bill has a quite unique and innovative concept in it, and that is this concept of a framework for what's called Cal Compute. Cal Compute is a computing cluster with safety mechanisms baked in that allows stakeholders, smaller actors, smaller social entrepreneurs, et cetera, to innovate in a safe environment without having to spend a lot of money on these compute resources. So I actually think in some ways the bill will facilitate entrepreneurship, but it's not going to drive entrepreneurs out of California. The cluster effects here in this region are just simply too large, and the penalty is not big enough.
So the biggest concern with any kind of regulation we've seen before is that regulation could stifle innovation. Meta was particularly opposed to this bill, as was Google. Do you think that this bill potentially crosses the line of overregulation?
Well, we're going to have to see about that, right? Because a lot of the answer to that question actually depends on the administrative bureaucratic procedures that the bill will require and that are required of entrepreneurs that want to comply, right? So it's in the administration, not as much in the bill, and we'll have to see about that. In general, I don't agree that any regulation is bad regulation. In fact, we've seen through research and history that good regulation can actually facilitate innovation because people trust more. There is more safety, and trust is, in fact, needed for customer intimacy, right? And that is needed to get more data from customers. So without trust and without this regulation by extension, it's really hard to get more data and to do more things with that data for customers. And now we'll have to see, however, how it all shakes out in the end as this bill gets enacted. Meta itself has a concern, and I do believe it's something that needs to be dealt with, which is that it is fostering open source, a semi-open source environment. And so it is, of course, having a watchful eye on these shutdown requirements. If Meta is required to shut down, it's going to shut down a whole ecosystem of smaller entrepreneurs. And so I think that remains to be solved.
All right, we'll have to see what happens with that. Professor Olaf Groth from UC Berkeley, thank you so much.
Always good to be with you. Thank you, Liz.
Always good to see you.
To view more content like this, we've selected some videos we think you'll enjoy. And please make sure to like and click the link in the bottom left corner to subscribe.